Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Dungeon Masters Dojo podcast. This is a show for game masters and players alike. We hope to bring you tips and tricks to elevate your game and develop the art of dungeon mastery. I'm your host, Louis Aponte, and these are your dungeon masters, Scott Labby and Bill Robotile. Let's enter the dojo and see what they have in store for us today. Hey, Bill. Hey, Scott.
Hi, Lou.
I'm back.
Thank goodness. We missed you.
I missed you guys, too. It was scary out there.
Couldn't see you anywhere. So you must have been 35 feet away.
Wrong. I was 36.
Oh, practically invisible.
Not wearing a white dress. So this is going to seem a little contradictory, right? Because we just got through telling everybody,
don't do this.
Don't do this. And now we're going to tell you why you should. So are you confused yet? I think that splitting the party can be very, very good if done the right way. And again, I will caution new GMs against doing this. Get your feet wet a little bit.
Get some experience, especially writing and planning, because it can be done. It can be done well, but it has to be planned for.
Yeah, I do it a lot.
Yeah, we split the party on a regular basis on our week long. I mean, constantly we're doing this.
And we're going to tell you how to do that.
That's right.
Not today.
Not today.
Damn it. This week.
But we will.
Not next week either. Maybe the week after. I don't know.
Eventually.
We're keeping it organic. Yeah. It'll happen when it happens.
And you'll love it.
You will. Or Lou will eat his shoe. Or better yet, or Lou will eat mine.
Oh, hell no.
I say eat mine, but I have a puppy, and he's doing a good job on him already. So, all right. So,
why should we?
Yeah, let's go to the first one. It's a great opportunity to add a new PC.
It is.
It's the introduction. They've head off and they discover somebody who has information, wants to come along with them. Turns out to be maybe what they're looking for. Now they have to get them to an objective. And they bring them back to the rest of the group. Hey, look, we found them. What did you find? Well, you found the person, but I found the item. And now that we have the two halves, let's go about our merry way and solve this quest and done and over with. Of course, it's never that cut and dry, but yeah, it's a great way to add a new PC or a important NPC.
Yeah, and part of the issue with adding a new PC is how you do it, right? And we've all encountered that. One of our buddies his schedule opens up. He's like, "Hey, can I get back to the table? You got room for me?" Sure. We're right in the middle of a campaign, though, but you're more than welcome. So let's get your character made. And
never say no.
That's right, never. It's a bad habit to get into.
You're a game master. Make it happen.
Yeah,
this is a way.
Yeah, and how many times can you introduce a new PC with, and you find this prisoner of the orcs? He doesn't, or he's wandering down the road.
That will put me to sleep.
Yeah. So when you have an opportunity to split, maybe someone's off scouting, maybe you're off doing something, you're hunting or whatever, or you head off in a different direction to accomplish a different goal than the rest of the party, and you can work this other PC in. And it's like you notice that while you're scouting, it appears as though you're being scouted. So maybe this PC is checking you out. Like, oh, I wonder what this guy's doing out here, because I'm on this mission, which may be very much so similar to what their overall goal is. And that's how you kind of pull them in, where you have an opportunity for an encounter, hopefully an encounter that doesn't involve weapons being drawn and combat and someone ending up
someone's
dead.
The hunter and someone's the hunted. It's not exactly who is which role.
Yeah, and it's a good opportunity to integrate this additional player character in to the group, because now they just have to endear themselves to one person, and then it's easier to integrate.
The one I've used a couple times, or a variation thereof, is the split half, whether it's 1, 2, or half the party, comes across a small hamlet that is in severe disrepair, but there's smoke coming from the chimney. There's a smell of something cooking, and they inevitably are going to look, and they find someone they recognize, who is battered, hurt, is poorly patched up. Looks like they did it themselves, and probably has a small bird or a rat or something cooking on a hodgepodge fire in the dilapidated fire pit. And what do you do? Well, and again, I was heading out to do this, and I ran into a band of whatever they already encountered. And, we were a group, and we dispatched them. He goes, I barely got away with my life, and now you got to draw on your healer. They got to bring them back if your healer's not with them. And, again, you reintroduce somebody that's under duress. And they happen, he found a temporary shelter. I've been here for 3 days. I think this wound's getting festered. I don't have the ability to fix it. Geez, please tell me that, Nymira is still with the group, because I need her healing bad. Yeah, she's with the other half. Or, get me to her now. And now you've reintroduced it. And I've used that kind of premise a couple times, and it worked out pretty well, because then they're looking for a shelter. Now they'll bring the rest of the party back, and now they have a shelter, and then they can get him healed, and now he's reintroduced. So it kind of helps the party as well, because more often than not, if they're out and about, they're looking for shelter. They're looking for someone to spend the night, and here's a way to introduce a place that is semi-fortified. You can have encounters or not, or just reintroduce your character. And that's when you pull him aside saying, all right, this is what happened. This is, how you're getting there. You were sent out with a group. Your group has been dispatched. You're the last, remaining survivor. You barely got away or were left for dead, and you crawled your way to this spot. And that's where they found you. Different way. So you've reintroduced a new PC.
And I'm always searching for ways to do that, because, the real world interferes, sadly, with gaming.
Yes, it does.
And people they come and go from a table based on their schedules, whatever their private life has, in store for them. So it's a good opportunity. It's a fantastic opportunity to add a new PC. It's just determining how you're going to do it, which stay away from he's a prisoner or she's a prisoner. Stay away from just walking down the road, and now all of a sudden I want to adventure with you.
Yeah, you happened into a tavern, and lo and behold, sitting at the bar is
Bruce.
Yeah, who is bored out of his mind, and hey, you guys got a spot for another guy?
Yeah, I wish I could murder hobo.
Yeah,
I haven't murder hoboed in a month. If you guys are looking for another murder hobo to join your band, then I'm your guy, because Ragnar the Impenetrable, he knows that when it comes to murder hoboing, I'm the guy to do it.
Well, you can do that as long as as the DM lays the foundation for those people to go to that bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, you left the clues that, you got to meet somebody here, or they're going to be there.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't do it, but it is an overused tactic.
It is.
The prisoner's an overused tactic.
Yep.
You stumble upon them in the woods on the trail between towns, overused tactic. So try to find somewhere else.
And this is a good way to add a little uniqueness. Okay, yeah, you come upon that little hamlet, right?
Yep.
Any number of cool things could be happening. There could be that guy in the house wounded. That guy in the house could not be cooking. He could be defending the house from the band that wiped out his party. Maybe there's a few more of the baddies left, and he's holed up in the in the little ramshackle house, and he's doing his best to defend it against the onslaught of these bad guys, and it doesn't look like he's doing a very good job.
His party's down. He's the last one. There's a woman and her 2 children. The husband's away for the day hunting, and he's there protecting them in his stead. He's not doing well. It doesn't look good for anybody, and you happen to cross him. Now, you don't know he's in there. Someone's in there firing arrows out of the windows at the baddies. So you go dispatch the baddies, and lo and behold, here's the guy you were missing.
Yep. Or you come across a lone traveler who's in the process of burying dead enemies and dead party members, and they're all by themselves. I always like to try to pull in that new PC with they're on a quest or a mission similar to the one that the party is on, so that it's easier for them to join forces and become one unit.
It's sent by a different patron, but with the same objective.
Yeah. Yeah, or for personal reasons, any number of things, but try to incorporate a reason why the party would want to accept them and a reason why the other PC would want to accept the party. Because if you don't,
yeah, it's not a matter of, well, I got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
That's the poor excuse.
Someone in the party, there's always that one person that's going to be like, hey, cool, the more the merrier. And then there's going to be that other person who's going to be like, well, wait a minute, then we have to split the treasure. Right? So do we split the treasure equally? Because this guy's brand new. We don't know him. Maybe he only gets like a half a cut. And the rest of us, there's always that one player where they're like, okay, it's cutting into my real world money. No, it's not. No, it's not. So you got to have a reason why they would want to join forces.
Unless, of course, you want that kind of, I don't want to say animosity, tension.
Yeah.
Because you know that you have your paladin that's based similar to the old school paladins, and this person is a bit more practiced in ledger domain. And they're not going to get along. It's a great way to kind of help them along. Similar goals, just like you said, and he's a resource, but does your paladin know him, or it doesn't know them and has to learn that this is not necessarily a person who follows the most honorable of practices?
Right, and tension is always a good thing to drive stories forward. So
drama is grand.
Yeah, splitting the party, whether it the result being the addition of a new player character at the table, that could definitely raise the tension if there's some oppositional values. It could also raise tension if now the stakes are higher because the encounters are going to be a little more challenging because they are meant to be for a whole party, right? You've crafted it to be this way, but it adds tension because maybe one half of the party is going in one direction to do something, be it hold off a large number of combatants in a narrow hallway or a narrow pass, while the rest of the party is racing ahead to activate some magical device or deactivate some magical device to shut down an army of undead, and the big bad doesn't want that to happen. So how can all of us be in one place at the same time? Well, you can't. So you divide the party. One half goes to do one thing, another half goes to do the other. It adds to the tension level because now you're halved and you still have to perform the same as a full party.
And like you say, you've written to have it split. And it's split where the unique qualities of certain individuals are in the wrong location. So you need your rogue to pick these locks and find these traps. And you don't have him. He's in the other group. And the other group, it has to deal with combat, and your primary tank is in the opposite group. So now there's your tension, where it's like, if only we had, and do they come back and get him? Do they try to swap? Do they deal with what they have? So again, to build the tension, but you can put it in there specifically to do just that. So they split up, and all you have to do is a quick little shuffle on your encounters, make them plug and play, and now you've put your non-combatant group in a combatant situation, and your tactic and stealthy group in the group that isn't very good with stealth. But they still have to get the job done.
And now it's time for a break. Grab your elephant guns and your hunter orange because we're hitting the stars, nerds. It's space dinosaur season.
Head off on a space adventure every week with the Homebrew, a D&D play podcast. Sure, there's lots of actual play podcasts out there. Heck, you can throw a rock and hit a dozen of them. But are any of these D&D podcasts sci-fi campaigns? You can't shake a stick at them because there ain't many, if any. And that's what sets these veteran gamers and their podcast apart from the sea of actual play podcasts.
If you're new to D&D, old gamers like us, somewhere in the middle, or maybe you just like a good story, and who doesn't like a good story, give the Homebrew, a D&D play podcast, a listen. You can find them on the web at thehomebrewpodcast.com or anywhere podcasts are found.
The links are in the description below. Welcome back. Yeah, and it can work. It can work wonders. The second year of our second long campaign, I split the group 3 ways.
Yep.
And it was at the very end of that week of gaming. They were racing to this final kind of objective to get off this island that was starting to kind of phase out of their plane of existence, but they're harried by these terracotta golems. They need to get to this objective to kill this beholderkin before the island phases out of their plane, but they don't want to stay on the island. So their barbarian Cal stays behind to fend off the terracotta golems, and the rest of the party, Coric's character Iskander and Matt's character Higurdine and Lou's character Graven, go racing off to take out the beholder. So now they get up there to the beholder, and they have this big elaborate plan, which is very cleverly laid, and the island's starting to phase out of existence, and Graven makes a bomb while Higurdine and Iskander are fighting this beholderkin, and Cal makes his return, goes charging through this the entrance to this old, like, kind of outdoor temple, broken pillars and everything, and he takes out 2 of these little beholderkin with thrown hand axes, just as Higurdine shoves this bomb effectively in the beholder's mouth and grabs a hold of it and closes its mouth, and the bomb goes off inside the beholder, blows Cal back out of the temple, takes out Higurdine. Graven barely survives. Iskander barely survives. So now the party splits again because Higurdine's out for the count. Cal's back on the outside of the temple because he was blown out. And now Graven's trying to get this old gnomish machine working to make their escape, because down the side of the mountain they can see this, like, apparatus of Qualish type of submarine, and he and Iskander are frantically working against the clock to get this thing to work. And now Cal's back up, and he's running in to get Higurdine, to drag Higurdine towards this effectively what is a bullet on skis. And they get in and push the thing off the side of the mountain, and Graven, with some lucky rolls, gets the thing working and is able to guide it less recklessly down the mountain. But the tension in the room you could cut through with a knife, because people were barely holding on to life, with death saving throws and, strength checks to drag, like, limp dead bodies out and trying to get this thing to work as, like, the island is getting even closer to phasing out of existence. And it was very tense. There was a lot of cheering at the end when they finally made it off this island in this, like, submarine thing. But it adds a ton of tension when you are doing just that. Like, your rogue is now tanking, because they are the closest thing to a tank that you have available right now,
because your tanks are out of commission or not there.
Right. And it added a great deal of tension. There was that thrill factor. So use it. Do that.
To your point, an unconscious character is the same thing as splitting the party. You've taken resources that the party could use out of play,
and you've added an additional burden, right? because now it's like, okay, now I have to, this is my friend. I have to rescue my friend and keep my friend from dying. So now there's that added layer of tension that's added.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you're absolutely right. When someone is out of commission, the party is split, even though they're all in the same room.
Yeah, they're all in the same room, but the party is still split because you've taken resources away from the collaborative.
Yeah. And now spotlighting, right? We all like our players to be in the spotlight, or
Absolutely.
our character. If you're a DM, you should want your players to be in the spotlight.
You
should
want to
make
give
those
them their
moments.
moment.
Yep.
I have a skill set and I want to use it. Well, here you go.
And players, you deserve your spotlight. You deserve that moment, that scene in the movie where it's just you. You know, everybody at the table needs that and wants that. And then you all want that spotlight on your group, you know, those freeze frames in the Marvel movies where, you know, all the Avengers are together looking epic, right? You want to do that stuff at the table.
Yeah, you want to paint that beautiful panel, that one page panel that just tells a story all by itself. You want to give everyone that moment to be in the forefront of that panel.
And splitting the party shines that spotlight brighter because now you have 2 or 3 people to spotlight as opposed to 5 or 6. And that makes it a lot easier.
For the game master, yes.
And it shines a lot brighter.
Yes, it does. Because now what you do is, you know, as a player is considerably more important. Because, you don't have the resources of your entire group. You're it. And whether your resources are extraordinary or less than, you're still it. And I have a low percentage. I have no bonuses. My modifier is 0. And if I don't make it, it could be bad for me and the 1 or 2 individuals with me. I have to make this roll. I have to make this happen. And you get up there and pontificate and RP the crap out of it and then hope the dice appreciated the performance and backs you up.
Yeah, and in just that small group of scenes that I described when my party was all split up, there were a bunch of opportunities to spotlight the characters. You know, that epic moment when Cal comes bursting through the entrance of that like outdoor temple and takes out the 2 little beholder kin. Boom, there was that spotlight shining on him, you know, that epic moment of slow-mo type action. And he burst onto the scene just in time to see his friend grapple an exploding beholderkin. You know, so Higgardine had his moment in the spotlight. He was always that character that was like, I'm ready to die. You know, he was a tired, grumpy, kind of middle-aged warrior. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, if I go, great. If I don't, oh well.
And so Higgardine, you know, his whole scheme, and Matt schemed on me hard with Lou to do this. And I will say, kind of caught me a little off my game. I was like, I always knew Matt's a schemer, but I wasn't expecting that, you know, but that spotlight was on him. And then Korik's character Iskander, boom, the spotlight immediately moves to her because she's explaining the island is going to go and take us with it. So we need to move, and we need to move fast because she was the only one who really knew what was going on. And then at the same time, now the spotlight shifts over to Graven, who's in the cockpit of this thing, and he's trying to get it to work, and finally gets the thing fired up, and nobody wants to get in it. But
it's gnomish. No one ever wants to get in a gnomish contraption.
You know, it's but they have no choice because
right.
It's a long climb down, and the quick way is even more dangerous. So the spotlight's focusing on all these different people at the table who are doing different things in different locations, and it shines real bright. People have their moment of heroism, and then remember when that was awesome. But then you were up there yelling.
That moves very nicely into our next point. It can help stimulate character growth because you've had this moment to do, get in the spotlight, and everyone goes, "I didn't know you could do that."
I didn't either.
Yeah. That's when you go, I can't, I guess, but I can now, or I think I can. So now if I did it once, I should be able to do it again.
you step outside of, kind of your comfort zone, right? You step outside of relying on other people who have other talents because you have no choice, because they're not with you.
Like I said, you had your rogue up front tanking, and successfully, since he lived. Okay, great. I didn't realize I could hit that hard. I didn't realize I could use a weapon that well, because I never do. Maybe I should be talking to the fighters in my group, the combatants in my group, and maybe I should be learning a little bit more as a prelude to perhaps going multi-class into the fighter classes or the ranger or something like that to help round out, because the gameplay suggested that your character develop in a direction maybe other than what you originally had intended. And just that spotlight, that moment's like, that was cool. Maybe my character would want to go that way.
Yeah, or you have two characters that really didn't like each other, and that being Lou's character, Graven, and Cork's character, Iskander. She did not like, to the point where there was probably the worst fist fight in the history of any D&D game ever, where it was like the direct opposite of that epic fight scene in They Live, where it was like 12 minutes of Lou and Cork rolling dice and missing one another.
I can just see them both with their eyes closed, head turned away, and just that flappy, the hand slapping.
Like someone got scratched.
Yeah.
It was epic, though.
Graven pulled Iskander's hair, and then he jumped out a window. That was day one. By day 3, it was they were walking and not talking to each other at all. That's how upset. That's how upset she was with Graven. But on that final day, she's in the machine with him, helping him to get things going, and they're working feverishly together to rescue the rest of their party, because Higurdine is wounded to the point of death, and Cal has 1 hit point. So he's on the cusp of being dead, and Matt's rolling death saves and stuff. So they're working together. So two people who don't, and they still don't like each other. She's still actually.
Well, we got over that a little bit.
She still dislikes him.
Yes,
I think it's gone from dislike to tolerance.
It is now tolerance, but that is growth.
That is growth. Yes,
that is growth. And that, that's kind of like a cool thing to see, because now that's big character growth, not just with one character, but with two.
Yes. And who knows what'll happen if they ever meet up again. Does the tolerance remain? Do you try to settle old scores? Well, that was a one-off. I still hate it. Or it's like, all right, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. So we'll see. But
it's a good segue, isn't it?
It's a good segue. You can easily split your party as a game master, but plan ahead of time. Do so carefully. Be ready for the unexpected. But as long as you're ready and waiting, there's a lot of reasons, despite our previous episode, why you should split the party.
And that's Splitting the Party, Part 2. 5 reasons why you should. We'll see you next time in the dojo. That's going to conclude this episode. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Please subscribe to the podcast for more great content. If you'd like to hear a particular topic, you can reach us out on Facebook at the Dungeon Masters Dojo, or you can drop us an email at thedungeonmastersdojo@gmail.com. Thank you, and have a good day.